Evening, guys. Evening. We have, as always, the old school panel with Kenny Ken and with DJB. This is going to be an interesting one. Kenny, how you doing, man?
I'm all good. Yeah, looking forward to the show. As I said before, it's going to be a very, very good discussion. There's some really good players in there. Sadly, some of those guys haven't won us anything, but they're still great players for us. And some of those guys, you'd be shocked if you mention them, but if you look back on what they achieved, especially during times we weren't successful, you think, hang on, he was a very good football player for us. He was quite a top player for us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It just brings back the memories because at the end of the day, we'd love to concentrate in the Premier League area only, but we can't because we actually won things in the Football League as well.
Well, that's true. That is true. DJ, how you doing, mate? Good day?
Yeah, all good. Sorry for the making you a little bit behind time, but I'd had a busy day and I've not long been in, guys. So I do apologise for making Jez a little bit late. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this one. It's one of them that's sort of, let's say, I've had some sleepless nights over.
Okay? Well, that's a great comment, man. Let's get into this because I tell you what, I've probably changed mine 6-7 times. I've put players in, I've taken them out, and I've put somebody else in. I've taken that player out, and I've put somebody else in. Like, fuck. So anyway, I trawled around today, and I came up with this website of some of the players. This guy's put up on his greatest Arsenal players. Kai Havertz. Interesting.
Okay.
There's a few. Raheem Sterling for Arsenal. Gosh, he's only been here half a year. Interesting. But let's dismiss Martin Odegaard. We all know this guy, Steve Williams. Yeah. Right. Okay. Anyway,
Steve Williams is a very good footballer for us.
Was, but was he one of the best? I'm sorry.
Has he put that up on some of these players that have not solely played on their performances that when they wasn't at Arsenal? For instance, Raheem Sterling in his years.
I think it might be linked later careers. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to take that off the screen. Right. Let's get into this. I mean, I'm going to start with my first player. I took this player, I put this player in, I took him out. And then I put another player, and then I put him back in, and I took him out. And I'm like, I mean, this was like, I won't lie to you, 6 o'clock this morning, I was still changing this. I'm thinking, no, that's wrong, Jez, that's wrong. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to start with my one. I've got to put this guy in there, boys. I've got to put him in there. Cliff Bastin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most iconic footballers for Arsenal Football Club. None of us saw him play.
100%.
I'm going on pure facts of reading about the gentleman, my granddad telling me about how he watched him play. And I thought, no, I've got to put him in here. I've got to put him in. One of Arsenal's highest goal scorers. You know what I mean, go for it, boys. Go for it.
Go on,
when I talk about Cliff Bastin, fantastic player, because if you think about it, he's probably one of the first players out there who was able to score from the midfield. In modern football, we take it for granted on the basis that box to box midfielders, but they're very rare. You look at it in modern games, David Platt, a goal scoring midfielder, Frank Lampard, a goal scoring midfielder, Terry McDermott before that. But for us to have someone like Cliff Bastin as well, who was that kind of player, and pre-Ian Wright, our greatest ever goal scorer, that is something in itself, and that's why he has to be included in there. Players who win us big trophies and players who break records have to be, in my opinion, in that discussion. And Cliff Bastin will always be a man after our hearts. To do it from midfield as well in that day and age. Can you believe? You know, you're a midfielder who can tackle, pass, like screen, but to score goals as well. They're worth their weight in gold.
Yeah,
they're worth their weight in gold. Those kind of players win you titles.
Yeah, and he did, and FA Cups. And you think, what he did when he actually took apart Aston Villa, right, back in the day, right, absolutely crucified them, scoring. Was it 7 goals? Am I right in saying that? 7 goals?
Is that in what year was this?
Oh, crikey. 1934?
1935, wasn't it? 1935, I think.
35.
Yeah, and it was an away game as well. I believe it was an away game.
It was, yeah. Absolutely crucified them.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Anyway, DJ, give me your opinion. Well, I'm going to ask. We'll do a round robin.
Yeah. Cool. But Cliff Bastin, getting on to Cliff Bastin, his records are there for everyone to see. And, if you look at the history of Arsenal Football Club, you have to mention Cliff Bastin because of how good he was. Again, I always prefer it if they was in their prime today. How much would they be worth? Well, if you was to take someone like Cliff Bastin and put him in a time machine as a young midfield player and move him into the 2025 and put him on a football pitch, he'd be worth millions. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I always judge players of that ilk. A big mention to Cliff Bastin. But do you want in no particular order, do you want one of my midfielders, Jez?
Yeah, start, mate. Start.
Well, I left Cliff Bastin out, not because he ain't a legend, because I knew you would mention him, Jez. So I left him out, all right? Okay. Because I knew you, so you got, yeah. But you can't not have a midfield without Georgie Armstrong, can you?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see, now George Armstrong he was a brilliant midfield player. 621 games for the Arsenal and over 60 odd goals from like a winger. But it was his crossing and his ability to cross the ball from anywhere that made George Armstrong a really brilliant player. And when he was playing for Arsenal in that era, as you can say, defenders, they were tough defenders. They weren't, they were proper hard men, and he weren't the biggest of players, George Armstrong. He had a very low directory of play, but he was quick. He was a lot quicker than people gave him credit for. So, George Armstrong made my top 10. Probably weren't the silkiest of players that some of them we're going to mention, but I believe in a top 10 of Arsenal midfield greats, along with the great Cliff Bastin that you mentioned, Jez. I think you've got to have George Armstrong in there, literally for what he bought.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I just want to throw this out. Why hasn't Cliff Bastin got a statue?
What it is with statues. Statues at Arsenal is a very modern conception. The reason why I say it's a modern conception is that we never really thought about that at Highbury. At Highbury, it was a case of like we thought we were going to be there forever. We never really was that club, but because of the Emirates Stadium, because we want to give the Emirates Stadium a kind of how do I say? We wanted to turn the Emirates Stadium into like a museum,
a tourist attraction.
Tourist attraction as well. Most importantly, we wanted to keep. We wanted to keep the. We thought by having statues of players, it will be authentic. So, if we went down that road of having statues, you've got to have Cliff Bastin. So you've got to have Herbert Chapman. You have to.
You have to.
After Herbert Chapman, the next cabinet rank had to be Tony Adams, because regardless of what area you support Arsenal, whether you're in your 80s, your 70s, your 60s, your 40s, and even if you didn't see him play, you're in your early 20s, the name Tony Adams is synonymous with Arsenal Football Club. So you've got to have Tony Adams. Then after Tony Adams, you have to talk about, players that played under Marcin, who were part of that, who I think were part of the greatest players that we've ever had. And you had to include Dennis, you had to include Thierry Henry, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to include those players. Like that's why
everywhere.
At the Emirates, at Highbury, we took it for granted. These people, I think we took our legends for granted.
100%.
And we only appreciated them when we left Highbury.
We didn't have the room around Highbury for statues, did we? Let's be fair.
That as well, yeah.
We didn't. At the Emirates, there's loads and loads on the concourses around the ground. There's loads and loads and loads of them. Anyway, we move on.
There's definitely enough room to put George Graham as a statue on there. That's for sure.
More than enough room.
That's for fact. Kenny, go on. Who's your man? The first one. Go on.
Well, first one, because I know if you want to work your way downwards, or should we work our way upwards, or we do go downwards?
Well, up to you. Doesn't matter.
All right. If I'm going to work my way downwards, for some reason, I've always been a Brian Talbot man.
Oh yeah, he's in mine. Yeah.
The reason why I've always been a Brian Talbot man, he was one of those players who had an engine. He was a box-to-box midfielder, could tackle, very good pass to the ball, good on dead ball situations. But one thing about you want from midfielders is the ability to run. You look at the 1980 season, we didn't win anything then, but we came mightily close to winning trophies. He played every game. We played 70 games in 1979-80 season, and he played every game for Arsenal. That shows you what kind of player he is. You think about 1979, he was part of that. He scored one of the goals in 79. In the 1980s as well, when we were going through that transition, he was very much a constant as well, Brian Talbot. And so even though he only won one FA Cup, for me, he's an excellent footballer. And he's a player that I've got a lot of respect for. And he was one of the first chairmen of the PFA.
He was.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And moving on to that, I mean, he was in my top 10 because I really rated Brian Talbot. He was one of them players he was one of the first names that I looked for on the back of the programme to make sure that he was playing. Because as what Kenny's just alluded to, I mean, the engine on him.
Funny, DJ, wasn't it funny, right, that we bought him off Ipswich the year after they beat us in the FA Cup?
Yeah. I think Brian recognised very quickly that Arsenal obviously was a bigger club. No disrespects to Ipswich,
I thought
which is hard to believe under that magnificent Brian Robson team that he had. But I used to love Brian Talbot was the sort of midfield player that I went to football to see. I wanted someone that played with their heart on their sleeve.
Yeah.
Again, he weren't the most skillfulest of player, but just his work rate and his energy and his enthusiasm to win the ball. And he used to put his head in a lot of nasty places. I mean, I've seen him head in some real nasty places where he's had his head nearly knocked off. Brian Talbot for me as well. But one of my next ones that I'm going to put in is this. I said there'll be a few people where they go, "What?" Was Alan Ball?
Yeah, okay. He's in my one as well.
Yeah, and the reason why I put Bally was when he come to the club, it made a few people think, hang on a minute, what we signed him for? Similar to probably some of the players that we're getting today. But he instantly, he had everything, Bally. I mean, he had the short pass, the long pass. He could run with the ball. He had a fantastic shot on him. and he captained the team as well, which I believe. And yeah, I mean, you can't not have a top 10 midfield of Arsenal without the great Alan Ball in there, because and he loved Arsenal. When he came, he was like you know, instantly fell in love with Arsenal. And another one, you know, he was a brilliant tackler as well. I mean, he used to go into some crunching tackles, you know, especially up against the Leeds team. I mean, he really used to go in there and win the ball, you know. And his positioning was very, very good, especially on. He used to take up these positions when we were defending. He used to take up these positions on the edge of the box, and sometimes you wouldn't see him mark anyone, but he'd take up the position on the edge of the box because he knew that if that ball went dead, he knew that he could quickly get it into attack. So he was very, very intelligent player, was Bally. So I had to put him in, guys. I had to put him in.
I get that. Go on, Kenny. Go on.
Alan Ball's like one of the greatest players who ever played in the Football League, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
You know, we bought Alan Ball because obviously we were the champions, double holders, and we wanted to continue our success. And let's not forget, Alan Ball was part of that triumvirate of midfielders for Everton. You know, Harvey, Ball, and Kendall in 1970.
Yeah.
And we I mean, obviously Everton. It proved that Everton were on the wane, and that Everton being on the wane was our game, and he was that. Indeed, I talked to a lot of people who were watching Arsenal in the 70s, and even some players who, you know, who played for us in the 80s. Alan Ball was their hero. Steve Williams talks about when Team Williams, you know, used to hang around Finsbury Park as an Arsenal supporter, although he went on to play for Southampton. He came back to play for us. Alan Ball was very much a player he used to watch a lot. And for the same reason you mentioned, he was good and his technique was impeccable. He could play on the right-hand side. He could play in the engine and midfield. And he had good passing ability. And he was a leader of men. And he was very patriotic to England. Loved playing for his country. But he gave everything for Arsenal Football Club. As sadly, it's such a shame that he wasn't able to... we weren't able to provide him with a team in order for him to replicate the success.
Absolutely.
In essence, there was a strong Leeds team. Derby had a bit of a renaissance when he first came to the football club, and it was the beginning of Liverpool's domination. So he was a good player, a great player amongst a very, very average waning team.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and the thing is with Bally, we were really fortunate to get him because you know, there was a lot of clubs obviously that wanted him, and unfortunately he didn't fully fulfill his potential. But again, another player. I mean, you imagine what he'd be worth if he was playing today.
Exactly. This is the thing. I mean, I'm going to throw this one in the mix. I think this is going to shock a few people. Just do this super chat, guys. AB, thank you, mate, for your super chat. George Graham and Patrick Vieira deserve a statue all day long, twice on a Sunday. Absolutely right there.
Yeah, George Graham, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I would do a petition for that. But I'm going to throw this one in, boys. Right?
Go on.
A player, right? I thought I'd watched this guy play, and I thought he was great. I honestly do. And he played in the 66. I don't know if he actually played, but he was in this 1966.
Oh, I know who this is. I know who this is.
Go on.
Go on.
He was 36. He was 36 when he was 36 when he won the League Cup in 1972.
George Eastham.
Yeah.
I thought he was a great player.
You've come out with another gem there, Jez, and you've come out with another gem there. That's why I left them off, mate, because I'll leave it all to you. Go on.
No. I thought he was a legend.
I knew it.
In his day at Arsenal, right? That guy would run and run and run and run and run. I remember watching him as a young kid in about 1970-ish, something like that. I think we were playing West Brom at Highbury. And I remember being up in the Upper West with my granddad. And I just said, "Who's this guy?" And he said, "It's George Easton." And I went, "Oh, right." And he went, "This guy will just run all day long." I wouldn't say he's the greatest of midfielders, but his service in midfield, right, you had to get past him. And if you didn't get past, if you tried to get past him, I mean, he was a bit of a, naughty boy. He'd leave the foot in here and there. You know what I mean? He wasn't too akin to putting his studs down the back of your shin, your back of your calf. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's one for me. Kenny, I mean, you know more than this than me. I don't know if he ever did play for England in the 60s.
I think he was part. I think he was part of the squad, but he's one of those players who, the only players who got medals were the players in 1966. They got medals, the first 11, but no one else got medals. But there was a ceremony, I think, in 2008 or 2009 when players who didn't who were part of the 66 squad, the FA, FIFA and the FA got together to ensure that they got their medals. Like Jimmy Greaves was one of those players, Ian Callaghan was one of the players, and I think George Easton was one of those players as well. So all those players who weren't
died, didn't he? He died January, was it? January, February?
George was definitely one of those players who's in the 66 squad. As you know, there's a John Kennelly who played for Burnley and Man United, those sort of kind of players. Norman Hunter got a medal as well. So these are the kind of players who got medals. Finally got medals. FIFA finally got their act together. But George Easton, when you talk about George Easton, you don't talk about him just at Arsenal. He was one of the first players to actually earn big money, because when we got rid of the minimum wage, he was one of the players who became a big earner. Obviously, Johnny Haynes was the first beneficiary. His mate Jimmy Hill got him some big money, but George Easton was very active with the Players Association as well to get a better wage for players. So, but in terms of what he did with Arsenal, I know he played in the 60s. I know he played with the Scottish Liverpudlian George Baker. I think they were in the Arsenal team together.
Wow. Very physical. Very physical.
And both of them love to leave their foot in, and they both threw their weight.
A little bit naughty.
Yeah, anyway, Baker and East. George Easton were very naughty boys.
Yeah, which you needed at the time.
They weren't the friendliest players to play against. Right, DJ.
Well, I think all three of us have probably got this man in, and if we haven't, I should want to know why. I'll have to go to VAR. I'm afraid if you haven't got this man in your midfield, then it's going to have to go to VAR. I'm sorry, but it's got to be the great Liam Brady.
Yep.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you. So, I mean, I've had George Armstrong, Alan Ball, Liam Brady. This man, when I saw him, I was only a kid, and he was the reason why I fell in love with football. And it's pure and simple. He was the reason why I fell in love with football, because I watched him do things in midfield that I didn't think anyone could do. I'm trying to class him as your modern. He was like the Irish Zidane, if you like. If anyone's seen Zinedine Zidane play, he was like your Irish Zinedine Zidane. He was that good. I'm not, he had both feet. His balance, I've never seen he used to ride tackles, and he used to get clumped from behind, from the side, sliding tackles, and he'd still stay on his feet with the ball. He's close control, and he never, ever looks at that ball. He had his head up the whole time. He was looking at the wings. He was looking in front of him. He'd look behind him. And you get these like modern day commentators and pundits say, oh, he painted pictures. You know, he could see a picture and all that. Well, that was Brady back then. You know, he used to see the ball. He used to know what to do before the ball come to him. You know, and you know, you've seen players over the times like your Zidanes and your Ronaldos and your Messis and all of that. I would say Brady, in his absolute pomp, his absolute season, would be on them sort of levels. Oh. And some of the goals he scored. So I mean, you know, funny enough, he scored 59 goals. He had over 300 appearances, 59 goals. But I tell you what, those 59 goals, they were all pretty much
pretty much.
I mean, he was called Chippy Brady for a reason.
Yeah.
And
but he was only called Chippy because he loved chips, mate.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, it was actually because he was obsessed.
He used to go down the local chippy, didn't he? What's it? The place there's road there, I know. But because there's a true story actually. My uncle used to bump into him quite regularly before match days, and they used to get their Friday night takeaway and stuff like that. And he used to often be in the old. That's a true story. No joking. Brady was often always around there. But yeah, he was one of them players when I was a kid watching him, or when I was growing up watching him. Got me excited. Whenever there was a free kick on the edge of the box, we'd go, "Oh, Brady will have it. Brady will have it." Yeah. And we'd all get excited because we knew that, you know, the keeper would be forced into a brilliant save, or it'll just go past the post, or What can I say about the brilliant Liam Brady?
Yeah. He was
one of my idols.
You saw that
because I've got him down as well. Kenny,
I've got him down as well. But you know, when you talk about Liam Brady, you have to second that. There's a reason why Liam Brady, when you talk about great Arsenal players, we always talk about three players who definitely in the list. And in some cases, they're in different order, but the three greatest Arsenal players of all time, Liam Brady is definitely one of the three greatest players we've ever had. That's testament to his footballing ability. You remember, Liam only won the FA Cup for us in '79. He was a losing finalist in '78 and 1980. He was a losing finalist in the 1980 European Cup Winners' Cup in Brussels, Valencia. He missed one of the penalties. People tend to only remember Rix's, but he missed one of the penalties. But the fact is that I always look at midfielders. Can you run the midfield? And my guy, Liam Brady, could run a midfield.
Oh, 100%.
And that's one of the reasons why I've always been a big fan of him. Testament to Liam Brady is that you talk about iconic goals, iconic assists.
Would you have him over Odegaard?
Yeah. Iconic assist, 1979 for his Irish mate Frank Stamen to head the ball past Bailey. Iconic goals, Leeds 1970, I think 1977.
77.
And then a similar goal a year and a half later against Tottenham Hotspur when that measured left foot. You talk about that, everything. And if you want to you really look at Brady and say, well, hang on here, he was only a great player for Arsenal. No. Liam Brady managed to forge a very successful career in Italy. Juventus, Ascoli, Internazionale, and Sampdoria.
Yeah. And at the time, sorry, Kenny, at the time, Italian football was massive.
The best.
You had the best players from all around the world playing in Italy.
And he was a success at all of those clubs, and he won medals at all of those clubs. Says it a lot. He played for the Republic of Ireland in a time when Owen Hand was the international manager. He missed the Jack Charlton years. It's arguable that Jack Charlton will never have appreciated Liam Brady in his pomp, because Jack Charlton played a very long ball, athletic game. So maybe he would have got rid of him, Liam Brady. I know towards the end, towards the end of Brady's career, Jackie Charlton was the manager, and there were issues with Liam Brady and their relationship because of the fact that rightly so. The style of play under Jack Charlton, successful but a pile of shit to watch.
Right then, Kenny, who's your next one, mate?
I'm going to go for. I think he might be in your one. A player that doesn't get a mention, but when you mention it, you think, oh, hang on here. This player bridged the gap between the old and the new. And he was in all eras. He was under Terry Neal, he was under Don Howe, and he was under George Graham, and he was the leader of all the youngsters. Paul Davis.
Yes,
I got him.
I had him in, took him out.
Paul Davis made his debut when Arsenal resting players for the Juventus home game in the North London derby in Easter Monday at White Hart Lane in a 2-1 win for Arsenal, and he was 18-year-old South London boy. Paul Davis's strengths, he had so much time in the ball. And you think about it, everyone talks about players like Hoddle, Rixie, all those sort of players were silky players. But Paul Davis, especially when the tackles were coming in, flying in, he held the ball, was able to, is an accurate passer of the ball, very good at dead ball situations, and can boss the midfield. And his left foot was like, he basically played as though he had slippers on his feet.
Yeah,
he was a very, very good player. He wasn't as mobile as George Graham would have liked and Don Howe would have liked, but his partnership with Brian Talbot. You think about Brian Talbot, the workhorse who went up and down the field, and then you had Paul Davis who could just pass the ball, deliver the ball, give the ball to Rich on the left hand side. Let's not forget the free kick and the 2-1 win in the 100th North London derby in the 4th of January in '87. Yeah. Let's not forget he was involved in Charlie Nichols' goal, the first goal against Liverpool.
Yes.
If you want, you talk about Glenn Cockerell where he hit him with it. I think he hit him harder than Henry Cooper would have hit him. But when we talk about footballer, a lot of the Arsenal players, especially the young ones like Rocky and Michael Thomas, and Huggy. Not that Huggy was the same age as Huggy, but Tony Adams. They also just called him Dad, didn't it? Because of the fact that even though he's only about 4 years older than them, 4 or 5 years older than them, he was the first cab of the rank to come through the ranks.
It's as if he'd been around for years, hadn't he? Do you know what I mean? But,
when they were making their waves in the team, Paul Davis already had 3 or 4 years. He had about 6 years in the Arsenal first team. That's how great a good player he was.
He was also very good at calming situations down as well. I remember Paul Davis. He was very, very good at doing what a lot of players do nowadays, and just just calm it down. If tackles would be flying in, we'd be under the pressure a little bit. They'd be peppering our goal and all of that. Paul Davis would get the ball, and he had this way of buying time, and he'd find space. He'd find a lot of pockets of space around the pitch as well, and he'd always have that time on the ball to calm things down, and he was very good at that. No, it's a good shout, that is, Kenny.
I'm just going to throw this one in the mix, right? Now, I think this is going to be open for debate, but I'm going to drop this guy in, go back a few years, 70s, Ray Kennedy.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Great.
Ray Kennedy. I know people say predominantly, when he first came in to replace Charlie George when Charlie George had that awful injury. But when he was at Arsenal, he predominantly played. I don't know what you'd call the position. It was like I don't know, like he was playing at a modern number 10 position.
He was like an inverted winger, wasn't he? Really?
Yeah, I mean, when he went to Liverpool, Bill Shankly, he put him straight in that midfield and that great team, the Liverpool team. And I think we've got to give recognition to Ray Kennedy.
Yeah.
Because when he was at Arsenal, he was a fantastic, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Right?
Yeah, no, it's a good shout, Jess.
I thought he was a great player.
He was a good player. Again, very intelligent and could strike a ball, score goals. You know, he was always in the right area at the right time. And Liverpool at the time, see how you got to rate Ray Kennedy is a team like Liverpool with all their great players would not have bought him if they didn't find if they didn't see anything in him. You know, teams like Liverpool would not have bought and paid the money for Ray Kennedy if he wasn't any good. So no, I mean he was an exceptional player for us, and his goal scoring record was pretty good from midfield. But it's right what you said. It was hard to put Ray Kennedy because he weren't like an attacking midfield player, and he weren't like a winger. He had a lot of free run. He had a lot of free roam, so he was allowed to kind of do his thing and express himself, which is something that managers don't let him do nowadays.
I think under Bertie Mee, that is where he came to his own. I think after the double winning team, right, when he sort of came to his own fruition. But yeah, that's one for me. But I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on this one, and I'm going to ask then Kenny. I want you to do your next one. DJ, you do your next one. There's no way we have to bow down. Bow down. David Rocastle. David Rocastle. In my book,
what you say?
Rocky Rocastle. I think that guy, sadly, his life was cut short.
Way too short. Way too short.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that guy was a legend to me. I mean, I just used to love watching him play at Highbury. He was silky. His ball control, his incisive passes. Yeah, come on. You know, he to me is one of the Arsenal. To me, no, not everybody's going to agree with me, and I don't expect them to. But I thought he was a legend.
Yeah,
he was strong as well. Everyone looks at the silky skills on that right foot and his ability to beat players and go past them. Let's not forget he earned the right to play. You know, when you look at the coaches, and one of the George was very much an advocate as well. In order to play good football, you have to earn the right to play. He earned the right. It's if you want to link.
He's not in my right. Sorry, Kenny.
That's right. It's right. If you want to link Joe Rocastle's short career with his injuries, that's a massive link. You look at the way he tackled, the way he went in for tackles. It's no wonder he had his knee injuries, he had the other leg injuries because he gave it 100%. I always talk about a tackle, and I'll never forget to talk about it. Boxing Day 1987, Nottingham Forest beat us 2-0. Stuart Pearce and David Rocastle went for a tackle, and I thought a World War II bomb went off. It was a massive crack, and I thought, Jesus Christ, someone's broke their leg here. They both got up and carried on playing. And you saw Stuart Pearce's legs were like tree trunks, probably like them now. David Rocastle's legs like tree trunks. Both of them had sim passes on, big bang. That's what I remember David Rocastle for. Everyone talks about the goal against Spurs. Everyone talks about the brilliant goal scored at Anfield in the 1-1 Little's Cup game where we played absolutely beautiful football against the then champions who played probably the best football Liverpool side I've ever played. But that's the measure of David Rocastle. Everyone talks about his debut in '85 against Newcastle, the goal he scored with a header against Luton Town. That sort of situation, and you look at Dave, and easily one of our best players. And we're not saying it for sentimental reasons because David Rocastle died young. We're not saying it because of the fact that he had a short career. Just get the videos out. If you get the videos out and look at the goal. Remember the goal he scored at Highbury? I think it was against Middlesbrough in the title winning season. Just beat 2 or 3 defenders, hit it in off the post. The goal in the do you remember the goal against Everton in what I feel was one of the best atmospheres Highbury's ever had? When we got to Little's Cup final, beating Everton 3-1 in the second leg. Him and Thomas scored great goals. The equaliser against Everton, where all the Everton players thought he was offside in December 1987, 87-88 season. Everton went 1-0 up. A goal from David Watson. And then Everton played the offside trap. Didn't work. David Rocastle, 1-on-1 with Level Southall, put it a sweeping drive in the bottom corner. That's our Rocky. And Everton players.
Rocky was
Kieran Ratcliffe in tears, moaning about offside.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Jez, but my main memories of Rocky Rocastle was not just his brilliant goals, was his bravery as well. You know, he was a very brave midfield player. Never shy out of a tackle. And when you look at Rocky Rocastle, you know, he was a fit, athletic, you know, good-looking sort of midfielder. You know,
Very cold.
You'd never put Rocky as a kind of a hard man, or he weren't the sort of player that you would look at and go, "Oh, he's ready for it today."
He can have it. I remember.
That's what I'm saying. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant.
Do you remember the game at Wimbledon? We played Wimbledon. We beat Wimbledon. It was 2-2 when we thought we fluffed the league title in May '89. Last home game of the season. David Rocastle, Terry Phelan got it together. He put his hand on Terry Phelan. Terry Phelan didn't want to know. And let's not forget. I know it's not about footballing, but we're talking about passion for the badge.
Yeah, passion for the club.
Remember the battle of Highbury with Norwich City when they were 2-0 up, and then we went up winning 4-3. David O'Leary's when he broke my guy Geordie Armstrong's record. David O'Leary actually scored that day. Rocastle getting involved with Brian Gunn. When Alan Smith got bundled by the Norwich players.
He didn't mess about Rocastle. He really did.
The Battle of Old Trafford a year later, when we got deducted 2 points. Who was in the thick of it? David Rocastle.
Maybe Rocastle. He was a bit of a lad, yeah. Ian Wright said he's one of the best players he's ever known.
And that chip, even though it was given as an own goal, that chip on it of Peter Schmeichel.
No, he was
91-92 season.
It's a great shout. Great shout.
DJ, before I come to you on your next best, Henry's saying, "Hello lads, hope you are all in good health. I've been hearing a lot about Paul Merson being quality for us. It was before my time. How good was you in your opinion?"
Well, I'll put Paul Merson in there right now because one thing you can say about the Magic Man, he was everything that you want from a modern day number 10. And Paul Merson, you could literally, Paul Merson was ahead of his time in the way the game's played. So if you wanted a perfect number 10 now, there is no way on earth Martin Odegaard. And I'm not just saying it, listeners, because I've got nothing personal against Martin Odegaard. But if Paul Merson now was in that dressing room, Martin Odegaard would not get ahead of him in any shape, way, or form. This guy could run. He's skillful, take on players. Whenever he got the ball, his first thing is, what can I do with it? Can I pass it? No. Okay, I'm going to run with it. And he used to run with it. And he didn't just run with it just for the sake of running with it. He ran with it with a purpose. And he'd open defences up. Defenders would back off him. He'd go from the left, he'd go from the right. And he was always in the thick of it. He always wanted the ball, never shy away. I was devastated when his time at Arsenal came to an end, because he was he just had everything. And 99 goals for Arsenal he scored.
Yeah.
He was one that had a big 100.
Who's your next player midfield?
Is that me? Yeah.
My next player from Paul Merson.
Oh dear.
Kenny's not going to like this. Sorry, Kenny. I've had to put.
Everything's up for debate.
I mean,
Listen, let's just on a footballing aspect, right? The only reason why I've put this man in is on a footballing aspect, right? And what he done for Arsenal in that generational time period with all the youngsters that were at Arsenal at the time, the Emirates Stadium, and that's got to be Cesc Fabregas.
I knew that was coming.
You know, and it's not to wind Kenny up, but I've put Cesc Fabregas in there because, again, he was the sort of player that was never, ever ruffled. You know, you'd have 4 or 5 players around him, and he'd always find that pass. He'd always find that way to get away with them. One of the most intelligent midfield players I've ever seen at Arsenal. And when I mean by intelligent, he was so quick. He was so quick thinking, you know, never ruffled, could pass the ball. He was a beautiful player to watch, Cesc, and you know how he left the club and all of that. Okay, it got on a few fans, these things. You know, 35 goals for Arsenal, which really, for someone like Cesc Fabregas, his goal scoring, I feel, was probably a bit low. But he weren't about his goal scoring. It was about. And he was in that generation where it was that young Arsenal team, and he was very, very influential on a lot of the young players around him.
Yeah,
and he was another player. When you go to football matches, I always think, right, am I going to get excited? Who's going to get me off the seat? Who's going to make things happen? And I don't really see that with the Arsenal team of today, and that's one of the most disappointing things. But this says Fabregas, when he got the ball, how's he got out of that? He's had like 3 defenders around him. He's been man-marked. And he must have been a nightmare to mark.
Yeah.
Because he'd always find them pockets of spaces. And he'd pick the ball up on the edge of the box. And he'd turn and he'd ping a 25-yard ball. So accurate to feet. So for me, Cesc Fabregas had to be in my midfield, I'm afraid.
No, so you shouldn't be afraid. I think for footballing reasons, I stand by everything you said. I know there was a period when we were comparing to Paul Scholes when he went for a purple patch of scoring goals. But I'd say one thing about Cesc Fabregas. It says a lot that Arsenal changed their whole way of playing because they got this player in the team. And for Arsenal to go down that Barcelona tiki-taka style of play, you have to have a player who defines that. And Cesc Fabregas was a golden child of tiki-taka. And he earned that right because of the things he said. The way we played, short passes, little triangles, we wouldn't be able to play like that without Cesc. No. When you talk about the football we played under Cesc Fabregas, under Cesc Fabregas, and during that Emirates era, albeit frustrating, albeit it was like champions, we were only top 4 side at best, maybe for his third occasionally. The fact is Cesc Fabregas, the football we played was as frustrating it was beautiful for watching. He was the orchestrator of that. He was the leader of men. And the fact is that perhaps Cesc used Arsenal as an apprentice in order to get it wasn't all Arsenal was like his
dress rehearsal, if you like.
Yeah, I think Arsenal was his passport back to Barcelona.
Yeah, it was a dress
rehearsal.
Wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, but that's how it was. No, it was always about getting back to Barcelona. He didn't make it. He was selected through the Mestalla, but all his contemporaries, they went back for the scenic group, scenic group. Some of their players, but he eventually got back there, and Arsenal and his leadership of that midfield prepared him for that. Without a shadow of that, he's one of the. He is a great footballer. No doubt about that. He creates, in terms of like Cesc Fabregas, you always got the impression he got more pleasure out of creating a chance for his teammates than actually scoring himself. Yeah. But and you talk about iconic Cesc goals. Let's talk about the Tottenham game. We went 1-0 up. I think it was a goal from I don't know. I think who got the first goal? I think it was Robin van Persie.
Yeah.
Got the goal, and then straight through the kickoff, Spurs kicked off, and he intercepted it, and he went through the Spurs defence and put it into the net straight from a Tottenham kickoff. That's an iconic goal. And another one of Cesc Fabregas' best ever games for Arsenal was actually in a defeat. And if I told you this, you wouldn't believe me. You know when Spurs beat us at the Emirates 3-1, 3-2.
Which a game we should have never lost, by the way.
Cesc Fabregas' performance in that game was one of the best performances I've ever seen from a midfielder. He gave, I think Luka Modric was playing for Tottenham in that team. Alongside Luka Modric, was playing that team as well. He gave Spurs a clinic on midfield generalship.
100%.
But somehow we ended up losing the game. Cesc Fabregas actually handled the ball for Van der Vaart penalty, and then Yunus Kabul won the game. But in that game, I've never seen a team play so well and then a man play so well in defeat. And that was when you thought, we got a gem on our hands. But when you think about the 2011 season, that was when Cesc got real itchy feet. He began to get itchy feet in the year before, but that season he got itchy feet and he was pushing for a move. Understandably, he didn't like the way he'd done it. But when you talk about great midfielders, you have to say Fabregas. And the reason why he's a great midfielder, because he did it at Barcelona for a while. Obviously, Barcelona wanted to get other players in. There was going to be a change of management. Pep was leaving. He went to Chelsea. And if you think about it, in 2015, when he won a title in 2015, Cesc Fabregas, his assist and his relationship with Diogo Costa was on a reason they won it. Let's not forget, he's got a century of caps for Spain. He won the World Cup, 2 European championships for Spain.
Yeah, he was in that resurgence of Spain when he was. Spain was everyone's favourite sort of team, apart from your own country. But one
thing I will say. The worst thing that ever happened to Arsenal was when Spain and Barcelona played tiki-taka, because that we thought it was a way to win trophies. It didn't suit Arsenal. But it was beautiful to watch.
Didn't suit Arsenal. Yeah, no, fair comment.
Let's move it on. I'm just going to do this quick super chat, Kenny, then I'm coming back to you. AB, mate, thank you for your super chat as always. Be up, guys. What's your honest thought as Arteta as a player? What do you think Arsenal was smoking when we decided? Well, very quickly, I want to come back to Kenny.
Well, very, very quickly, I wouldn't say Arteta was one of the worst players I've seen. His best days were at Everton, I believe. He weren't one of the best players. I mean, he had his moments, Arteta. I think he was a poor man's Cesc Fabregas, if I was going to be honest with you. You know, he was never in that caliber as a Spanish football player, as I know Spanish midfielders. But he weren't one of the worst, but he certainly don't make my.
He wasn't great.
He doesn't come near my top 10.
Kenny, give me very quickly. I want to move on to your next best midfielder very quickly.
Well, in terms of Mick Arteta did a job for us, and he was an effective job. You know, Mick Arteta, he at Everton he was an attacking midfielder. At Arsenal, we needed someone who could hold the ball and could keep possession, which is what Mick Arteta was very good at. Yeah. The fact that he played, he was part of the Barcelona juniors. Let's not forget, Mick Arteta was very highly thought of. He was on loan from Barcelona to PSG. Was very good at PSG. Excellent at Rangers. Then from Rangers went to Everton. Great player. And he was very effective for us. Let's not forget. I was like, we did the Poznan in 2012 when he scored.
He got the Poznan at Arsenal.
Yeah, we all did the Poznan because of.
We did indeed.
But he scored a great free kick that season against Aston Villa from 30 yards. Effective player, but let's face it, he was what we needed at the time.
He was, He done a job. He done a job. He wasn't the worst of players, put it that way.
No, not at all. But he had a great career, and he played from some iconic clubs in Europe. Arsenal being one of them.
I think he's better at Rangers, but there you go. When he's a quiz, Easter, do one at Easter.
Definitely.
And it's going to be. And
DJB could have been involved as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an Arsenal quiz. It's all Arsenal, this one. It's all there's nothing else but Arsenal. Kenny, please tell me your next best midfielder.
Gilberto Silva.
Oh, that's a
Gilberto Silva. Gilberto Silva was a midfielder. We built a platform of the Invincibles, and Gilberto Silva, I believed, was part of the Invincibles' last hurrah in winning the trophy in the Champions League final. Gilberto Silva, he was a more than adequate replacement for Manu Petit, a player that we struggled to replace when he left us in 2000, go to Barcelona for love. Big mistake. Yeah. I'm sure he's not with that woman anymore. But yeah, Gilberto Silva, he came to us and he actually came to us after we won our double in 2002.
Yeah.
And his first goal was a Charity Shield winner in Cardiff against Liverpool in his first, I believe, competitive game. But what Gilberto Silva did is he won the ball, gave the ball, and he allowed Patrick Vieira to bomb forward. He's the best DM we've ever had, and I'm talking a DM in the mold of a Makelele. He was a Makelele before Makelele.
Yeah,
Makelele obviously became one of the best DMs of all time, probably the best ever. But Gilberto Silva was that man. You think about when we should have won the league in 2003, he was very much our mainstay in the team. In 2000, we won the FA Cup that year. He was very much part of that side that won in the first indoor final at Cardiff. We were all there.
Yeah, good
and
shout.
When you talk about the Invincibles when you think about the engine at midfield, the guy who calmed things down, won the ball, like I said, gave you defence protection. Gilberto Silva was that man, a very, very iconic player.
Coolness as well. Coolness under pressure.
We got every ounce of we could have got out of him. He played in 2006, got the Champions League final, very much our mainstay, especially when we had a lot of injuries. We lost Patrick Vieira, he's still our mainstay. The first, I believe he was the first player. He scored the first Arsenal goal at the Emirates. The first goal at the Emirates Stadium was by Oliver Melberg in a 1-1 game. Villa went 1-0 up. Who got our equaliser? Gilberto Silva.
Correct. Gilberto Silva, yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
But you take away the goals, which were very rare. The calmness he gave in midfield, the balance. We wouldn't have won the double.
No,
we wouldn't have won the double. So we wouldn't have been invincible without a player like Gilberto Silva.
No.
I'm going to throw this player into you. Right, this may surprise you, DJ, Kenny. Right, I actually think this man needs a mention. Mickey Thomas.
Oh, come on, yeah.
What can you say about the Mickey?
I've told you guys, I've changed players in, I'll put them back out, I'll put them back in, and I'm thinking, no, Mickey.
I'm listening, guys. Just 2 seconds.
The only reason, for me, the reason I've got to put this man in there is purely and simply his iconic fucking goal.
Now you're talking. You're talking. Yeah. You're speaking our language, innit?
I was one of the 50,000 that were there that night. But I can prove.
Did you get any flowers from the Arsenal players?
But the thing is, Kenny, I can prove I was there. That's the difference, right? I'm not one of these ones that gives it all the big, large. Oh, I was there. This, that, yeah. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Of course you were. I can prove it. I've got my match ticket. I've got my bloody program. Now that night, when he got that through ball, right? When Kevin Richardson nicked it off John Barnes, right? Propped that ball through to midfield. It flew out to him. He did the dance and he slotted it past Bruce Grobbelaar. It was a dance. Let's put it right. It was a bit of a dance. Yeah. That to me will go down in all-time history for me as a fan, right?
Yeah.
None of us is expected to go to Anfield and win 2-0. Anybody that says they did is a liar.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, he goes down as a legend. Personally, gentlemen.
And I'm gonna say this now. How many Arsenal fans still watch that clip today and still go, he's gonna miss it?
Yeah.
I still watch it today and think, did that happen? I still think it still cringes.
I was behind that goal.
Yeah, I was. It was an amazing day all round. I remember going up there. And I remember about it.
It was like we could see him coming down there, and we were like,
yeah. And you still do that today when you watch it.
Guys, I know why you guys do it. It's because he had a similar chance 10 minutes before.
Yeah,
we did.
When and it was Mickey Thomas in the same.
And he missed it.
He couldn't get the ball out of his feet.
Couldn't adjust his feet. Yeah.
But you think about it, how he scored that goal. It was still on the outside of the right foot. It was a situation where you had Ray Houghton ready to pounce. Steve Nicol was in the vicinity. He had to get it right.
They froze.
He had to get it right.
Defenders froze. Their legs became heavy when he was put through. I think there was an interview on one of the Liverpool defenders at the time, and I remember listening to it way back in early, like couple of months after that goal had gone in. And the I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ray Houghton actually, because he was doing some commentary, wasn't he, on Talk Sport and that. And he actually said, I couldn't move my legs when I see him through on goal. All my legs went numb because I knew that if this goes in, the title's over. And he said, I just lost the feeling in my legs. It just all went numb. I didn't know what to do. But no, it's a great shout. That is.
Well, if Ray Houghton misses that tackle, we get a penalty.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Absolutely.
Anyway, right, DJ.
I'm gonna throw one in here that may not be on a lot of people's lists, but again, when I watched this player, he excited me. He was good, and surprisingly enough, he scored 72. He scored 72 goals for Arsenal.
Oh, I know where you're going.
And he's Fredrik Ljungberg.
Yeah,
Freddie.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Dennis Bergkamp once said that he didn't have. Whenever Freddie got the ball, he didn't have to worry about where the ball was going to go. And I remember do you remember that goal when Bergkamp got the ball and Freddie Ljungberg burst into the box, and Bergkamp done that little flick through that defender's legs, and he flicked it, and then Ljungberg clashed with the keeper and lobbed it over the keeper, and he went bowling over against the keeper. I can't remember who it was against now, but I mean, I thought he was a magnificent player, Freddie Ljungberg. You know, skillful, quick. And if you compare him, I suppose, Saka of today, his goals that he scored really were in that team was just incredible. He was a massive part of that team, Freddie Ljungberg. And to me, he had to go in. He had to go in more ways than one. You know, he's dribbling skills.
I had him there. Kenny, where's your next one?
My next one's got to be Robbie Perez. Robbie Perez was one of the best players that ever wore an Arsenal shirt.
Absolutely.
He was at the club from 2000 to 2006. When you think about his first season, he was feeling his way, but he scored a couple of iconic goals. You know, he scored a goal, you know, when we were given the news that we lost David Rocastle, that Robert Perez remembered that David Rocastle wore the number 7 shirt. In tribute to David Rocastle, Robert Perez scored a goal that David Rocastle was proud of against Spurs. Previous to that, he scored another goal against against Chelsea in a game that we drew 1-1. Jordan Terry got the equaliser in 2001. And then the season afterwards, Robert Perez played his best football. He was easily the best player in Europe. Before the knee injury, the best player. His performances were world class.
84 goals, and there's a YouTube clip of all his eight. There's a YouTube clip of Bobby Perez's 84 goals, and I honestly, if you've never seen Robert Perez play live, go and watch that YouTube.
100%. If you do you remember? Everyone talks about the goal at Newcastle, you know, in terms of like Jeremy Spurkamp, you know, how he bamboozled that Nikos Abisas, who put the ball through. Robert Perez.
Robert Perez. He was brilliant and very, very underrated. Probably the most underrated player I've ever seen. Ever.
In world football. Remember, we got him from Marseille. Let's not forget he set up the winner for France when in the final against Italy when you know what I mean.
No, he was. No, Kenny, I agree. I mean, and we were blessed, weren't we? With, you know, Freddie Ljungberg, Robert Perez. I mean, you know,
he's era. I mean, there's so many DJ. I mean, I've got Perez, so I've ticked him off.
Yeah.
Give me another DJ. Give me another one off your list.
Well, I think we've probably all got this one as well, but you might not have this one, and I put him in because. Literally because of his discipline and his partnership, and that's Manu Petit.
Oh yeah,
you know
that showed that.
I put Manu Petit in there because of his discipline. You know, Manu Petit was the manager's dream, wasn't he? Yeah. So you could say to him like, you mark him. Wherever he goes, you go, and you keep on him all game, and that's Manu Petit. And when you know, if he was to put man-to-man marking someone, I think he would mark Roy Keane once. And Roy Keane wasn't getting anywhere near the ball, and he was getting wound up with Vieira, but it was actually Manu Petit that was taking him out of the game. And brilliant player. Again, weren't the most skillfulest, weren't the most silkiest, but very intelligent, workmanlike, and surprisingly very quick. Manu Petit.
He played like Paul Davis, isn't it?
Yeah, he was very much like Paul Davis. I was trying to think who I could sort of put him up against, and he was very much like Paul Davis because he was quick, he was intelligent. And a World Cup winner. You know, we all remember that where he was put through France.
I want to ask Kenny this. I want to ask Kenny. I want to ask you your next one. And I'm going to throw this player in the mix, and it'd be interesting to get your opinion because I think it'd be a bit of a debate. Kenny, your next best ever midfielder at Arsenal.
Well, I think many people arguably say he's the best midfielder we've ever had, Petr Vieira.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. But no, you're missing the one. Go on.
But when I think about Petr Vieira, you think about our eras of domination where there were times when the Man United teams couldn't live with us. That they actually believed that the only way they could beat Arsenal is by putting their foot in and being absolute nuisances and playing on the counter-attack. A lot of that was because of our control in midfield. Now, you think about it, Petit and Vieira were only together for 3 seasons.
They were.
And 2 of their best seasons, 2 of their most best seasons was 97-98, although the second half of 97-98, because the first half, they'll get to know each other. And we were dropping points at home against Liverpool and Blackburn. But you think of the 98-99 season, Man United won the treble, but it was only by fine margins. Petit and Vieira were still the best midfielders in the country. And then after Petit left, Vieira had it to himself, and he was still our linchpin in 2000-2001 when we were in transition. The constant was Petr Vieira's performances, and then he finally got a part in. We won the double with where it was basically Ray Parlour was his partner most of the time, and Van Bronckhorst was sometimes his partner.
Yeah.
Gilberto Silva didn't arrive. But you think of Patrick Vieira, he had everything: strength, pace,
and for a tall guy,
if you wanted to pass, and he could read the game.
Oh, yeah.
He scared the living daylights out of opposition midfielders.
Strong.
He never took liberties from Patrick Vieira.
Surely, DJ, I'm sure you, Kenny, come on. We're missing one anchor. Dennis Bergkamp.
Oh, of course. That goes without saying. You know, when you talk about midfielders and you talk about the boss of midfield, Dennis Bergkamp's more of a number 10, isn't he? A number 8, a number 10.
Well, he had the number 10.
Yeah, he was more. He was number 10.
Yeah, he was more of a sort of midfield come striker, but what can you say? Bergkamp. I mean, you know, when you think, if you was to getting back to Patrick Vieira, and I named Manu Petit before that, I would say if you was to go through the Premiership's best partners, you know, like you had Rio at Man United with Vidic, and you know,
he was sorry, DJ. Yeah, Brian Talbot was part of the '79 winning. We bought him from Ipswich Town.
Yeah.
Season after that, we lost to Ipswich Town 1-0, and he was an absolute legend of that game. He actually collapsed at the end of the game.
Yeah, and he makes our top 10. He made my top 10 and Kenny's. So yeah, but I would say that.
Carry on, mate.
I would say Vieira's probably got to go down as one of the best midfield players that's ever been in the that's ever graced the Premiership. I would say.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bergkamp though. Come on.
Bergkamp. What can you say? Probably Bergkamp, along with Brady, is probably Bergkamp is my favourite Arsenal player of all time.
And mine.
Above Henry, and I know people are going to be shocked by it.
No, not at all. Because the majority of people you would speak to in football, they would, especially Arsenal fans, they do. Piers Morgan says Dennis Bergkamp's the best player he's ever seen. Although Piers Morgan's a pork chop of all pork chops, he is an absolute pork chop. He's an absolute wazzer. But Kugan Cassius, you know, the guy who does IFL TV, he says it's Bergkamp. Majority of people I speak to would say it's Dennis Bergkamp and the reason why is that consistency, in terms of consistency, Thierry Henry was better. He was more consistent playing. He delivered.
I think it's because of the goals he scored on Henry. The amount of goals. Yeah,
Dennis, you know, you always like segue towards the 2007-2008 season where without dispute, Dennis Bergkamp was the reason why we won the double in
and he's still, and to me, it's the greatest goal the Premiership's ever seen against Newcastle.
Yeah, but there was a goal against Leicester.
Oh yeah, where he flicked it one way, flicked it the other way. That was incredible goal, and he done similar to the same in the World Cup for Holland against Argentina.
Exactly, but you think about like the goal of the month, 1, 2, and 3 was Dennis Bergkamp, wasn't it?
But the thing is with Bergkamp, right? Is if I always say, if you've got a young boy and girl that wants to watch how to play football, the first person you would show is Dennis Bergkamp.
Oh, without a shadow of doubt, yeah.
Control, his brain, his touch, his silkiness. He was like the Roger Federer in football boots, wasn't he? You know how Roger Federer used to play tennis and he was all silky and smooth.
One thing about Bergkamp, though, and I think even people...
He had a bit of a temper, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a bit of a temper.
He was
the only criticism you have of Dennis Bergkamp, there were times when he wasn't consistent. There were times when he disappeared in games. But when you look at the iconic performances, it supersedes the games that I felt he disappeared in. And that's probably why I've always looked at Henry and I thought, well, in terms of consistency, you can't go better than the Vavavoom. But Henry's not a midfielder, he's a striker.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was great. And then when he, he was sort of midfielder / striker in my book because of the way we played.
He struggled when he first came to us. You remember his first goal was in, I think it was against Southampton where he scored a couple of beautiful goals.
Yeah.
A volley and a drive, which was typical Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah.
And I think his first season he learnt his trade in English football. He learned, and then I think the second season, 96, 97, he had enough of referees letting tackles go. He said, "Right, I'm having it now." And you look at it, look at Dennis Bergkamp. What people don't seem to underestimate, he went on the weights. He went on the weights. You could see his build in 97, 98. He was on the weights. You could see when he was in that advert. Remember that advert when they were doing when he was in the Dutch clogs? And I think it was about Dutch cheese. And you sort of Dennis Bergkamp was like that, and you thought, okay. Do you remember that setting off as well?
Yeah. He could mix it, but then you had to then because he used to take a lot of stick defenders. I mean, people couldn't get near him. He used to take. This is why these pundits don't like Arsenal because they've spent their lives having the piss taken out of them by Henry and Bergkamp.
Do you remember Lomas? Steve Lomas, Paul Bracewell.
They took the piss out of them all.
Yeah, he won't have it.
I mean, brilliant player, brilliant, absolutely wonderful player.
Like in the chat, Tony, this is going 100 years almost, but does Cliff Bastin? I've mentioned him.
Yeah, he did make our top 10.
He did make it as well,
he was in Jezzy's, wasn't he? Yeah, Cliff Bastin.
Kenny, give me your next one.
Right, my next one, because you used it all. I have to say, Mark Overmars. The reason why I go Mark Overmars, there was a couple of seasons when Mark Overmars was like quicker than the speed of light.
Oh my God!
And he was completely effective. Again, when you talk of players that were catalysts to us winning a double, Mark Overmars' pace. He was greedy.
Wow. Yeah,
he was greedy.
Yeah, but could be
very greedy. But his pace was unbelievable. You think about the couple of goals that he scored in the game against Everton when he won the league for us. Pure pace. He's gone in the cup final.
At Old Trafford.
From the midfield. Pure pace.
Yeah, just pace.
Everything about pace.
Yeah, incredible.
I agree with that. DJ, give me your next one, man.
Well, I think I've named them all. I mean,
I've got one more.
I think I've named them all. I think because I've had a lot of the same as Kenny and yourself. I've had Petit was one of mine. Alan Ball, Armstrong, Brady. Yeah.
Done him. We've done Michael Thomas, mate. Done him. I would throw this one in the mix. Now
you left one out, though. You left one out.
Go on.
You left out a stroller, George Graham.
No, I've got him down here.
Oh, you got him down?
I have George Graham. It's here. He's there. He's
on my one as well.
George Graham.
Fucking screen shit.
Yeah, George Graham. Yeah. See, I had Alan Ball, and you all had George Graham.
I had Charlie George as well.
Charlie George is mine as well.
I'm going to throw this one in before we wrap it up, boys. Right? This might be controversial, but I class him as a midfielder. Thierry Henry. Left wing, cut inside. Would you?
Yeah. Probably more of a forward, but when he first came to Arsenal, he was left midfield, wasn't he?
I think the reasons why we have to have a show about this and have a debate. The reason why I say have a debate because I think when you talk about Thierry Henry's iconic, the game against Derby where we took him from the left wing and put him up top is when Thierry Henry became a superstar at Arsenal and became for me the best player we ever had because he was playing at the left wing, and he's meant to come in and score goals, and he scored a few goals. You know, I remember when we played Solna at Wembley in 1999. He scored one of the goals. But
would you say he's a striker?
I think in November '99, when after the Derby game, he became a striker because that's when he scored those 2 goals against Derby County.
And that's when he come to life, really.
And after that became his kind of his position.
Yeah. But he did used to pick up a lot of balls from deep in midfield. I mean, we all know about the goal he scored against Madrid and Tottenham and all of that. No, he was, I mean...
I think what Thierry changed the way strikers played to the extent that no strikers have tried to copy to Henry. And I know where you come from. This is the reason why you can say that is because players like Ronaldo and Messi have copied the Henry way of doing things.
100%.
But Messi and Ronaldo initially went into football as wingers, and then they became wingers who could score goals from every
pockets,
and they scored all sorts of pockets. And I think Henry was the catalyst for that. So I see where you're coming from. Yes,
100%. And the thing is,
I get that. I just think personally, my interpretation. I'm probably wrong in saying this, but predominantly he was on that left wing, left midfield. He used to cut inside.
No, I've seen where you're coming from, definitely. He weren't an out-and-out sort of old-fashioned number 9, was he? An old-fashioned number 10. He weren't like an Alan Shearer, was he?
He'd get the ball, drag it through, and cut through.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an awkward one, isn't it? Awkward.
I mean, there's a lot of midfield players. There's a lot of midfield players that I add in, took out, took out. Because one of the midfield players that I was going to put in, he never made my top 10, but I'd like to mention him.
Yeah, go on, mate. Go on.
Because I thought he was underrated. And I thought he scored some smashing goals, the one in the FA Cup against Chelsea. You know what I'm going to say now.
Ray Parlour.
The Rockford Pele. I thought he was very, very underrated.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
He didn't quite make my top 10 because you had to put him in the mix with Petit and Vieira and Gilberto Silva and all of these men. But Parlour was probably just outside of my top 10.
What about guys? What about? This is one that I hummed and hard. I put him in. I took him out. I put him in. I took him out. Sandy Cazorla.
Is that?
Sandy Cazorla. Sandy.
You know what?
Exactly.
He's got to be in one of our top 10s because he's the most technically gifted player we've ever had. Technically gifted. He was more technically gifted than Ozil, more technically gifted than Cesc Fabregas. He has to be in there. He has to be in one of our top 10.
I'm surprised he hasn't. He was another one. He's sort of like there with Parlour. But the reason why I didn't put him in is because I couldn't put him in. Brian Talbot for me and what he done and Alan Ball and people, it was so difficult. I mean, when you think of the midfield players we've had, I mean, come on. I mean, they're just like... And what I'm trying to say is if you look at our midfield players, this is what gets me when I look at players like Marino, when I look at players like Odegaard and players like that. And then I look at my list, Fabregas, Petit, Vieira, George Armstrong, Pires, Liam Brady. They don't even, honestly, the midfield players we've got playing for Arsenal today don't even come near it.
Not at all.
Don't even come near it. I mean, even Declan Rice don't even come near Brian Talbot.
Declan Rice is causing a lot of discussion.
He is for you, Jezza, isn't he? But Kenny. But I mean, Declan Rice don't even come near Brian Talbot. I put Brian Talbot ahead of Declan Rice all day long.
Well, the reason why is that modern footballers today are athletes, and they're very much micromanaged by their coaches, especially the top coaches in this country and in Europe.
I mean, that's very good.
We can watch a game right now.
Yeah,
and we can predict how it's going to play. We know that if a player gets on the edge of the box, he's not going to put a cross in. He's going to pass to his nearest man, so they can get the best angle where there's space for all the attacks to go into. Because modern football, not only you have to run, you got to be able not to give the ball away to the opposition because everyone's scared of being on the counter attack, and everyone is scared because everyone knows that the low block is the first stages of play for a counter attack. So everyone's scared of losing possession, but it's not as if they're playing great football. They're just playing the same way. Even if they're 2-1 down in the last 10 minutes, they're all going to sort of pass to the.
They don't express themselves today. It's been a poor season.
No one takes a risk in football. Everyone has to pass the nearest man. No one does. You're not allowed to have a diagonal ball. You're not allowed to shoot from 30 yards or 40 yards. You have to be in a situation where it has to be guaranteed that your teammate is going to get the ball. If that means a short pass or a sideways pass, then so be it.
But see, when Wenger came into the Premiership, he changed a lot of the way football was played. But Pep's done the same thing. But now Pep's made the way football's played in the Premiership, and it's kind of slow and lethargic. And
everyone wants to play like Pep. The Pep way of playing football is a simple way of playing football. Win the ball back, but under no circumstances must you give the ball away, which means you're not allowed to do a long pass unless there's significant space for a guy to actually get the ball where there's no chance of an interception. So don't mind if the ball's diagonal and long unless it goes back. But if there's players around the guy you're trying to pass to, even if it's the most forward pass, the most positive pass, offensive pass, you're not allowed to do it. Everyone plays like Pep. No one wants to give away possession. It's boring to watch.
So, Jez, what was your top 10? Reel them off, mate. Reel them off.
Well, I went Cliff Bastin.
Yeah.
George Easton.
Yeah.
Ray Kennedy.
Yeah.
Liam Brady.
Yeah.
David Rocastle. Michael Thomas. Bergkamp, obviously. Perez. Vieira, Omri.
Yeah. I went Vieira, Brady, Perez, Armstrong, Ball, Fabregas, Petit, Talbot, Lundberg, Merson.
See, my one was Brian Talbot, Vieira, Petit, Gilberto Silva, Cesc Fabregas, surprisingly.
Oh, wow,
surprisingly, because it's a football discussion.
I didn't mention Fabregas. I thought, oh my days, I mentioned
Petit was in there. That's number 6. I included Paul Davis. I included Mark Thomas, David Rocastle.
Yeah,
and I included the stroller, and I included Charlie George.
George Graham. George Graham, and you got to talk about Charlie George.
I apologise for not having Ray Kennedy in there, but I looked at, because he was our top goal scorer in the double this side. He got 19 goals.
Yeah, but
I actually took out and back in twice. Fucking hell, it was ridiculous. Charlie George and George Graham, I had them in and out.
Yeah, I did, but I went for Alan Ball and George Armstrong. So,
we could go for hours. I mean, I
love the stroller. I love the stroller because
he's great. I mean, come on. I mean, what he did for the club as a player and a manager.
Oh, yeah.
I had Anders Limpar and I took him out.
But Anders Limpar deserves to be in there. But the thing around Anders Limpar, there's so many great players. Like if you put your name, your list of all great Arsenal players. Initially, if someone asked me about who's the greatest ever Arsenal players, sometimes I'm thinking, well, I can't think. And then when you go back and think about all the games you watched over the last 40 or 50 years, leave players out. For instance, believe it or not, I left out David Price. Now, many Arsenal fans know David Price, but David Price was very effective for us in the late 70s and early 80s before he went to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, David Price was so underrated.
He played just behind Alan Sunderland and Frank Stapleton. Always effective for us in games and scored goals. Effective goals for us.
Right, before we go, right?
You're not going to ask us to name the ultimate top 4 if you had to pick a midfield right now.
It'd be hard.
Are you reading my mind or what?
Oh, because I know what you're like, Jezzy. You're cruel. You're cruel, man.
Right, I'm going with mine. I'm going to go first. My ultimate top four.
Go on.
Ultimate top four for me is Liam Brady.
Yeah.
Right. Patrick Vieira.
Yeah.
Dennis Bergkamp. And Pires.
Oh, it's similar. Yeah.
Similar as well. Similar.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Vieira is probably the first name I put on the team sheet. I'm going to go Vieira, Brady, Pires. Depending on how I'll set up, I would obviously put Bergkamp in there. Yeah, Bergkamp. Yeah, okay, Bergkamp. Fabregas. Yeah, it's a nightmare, man. But this is what I'm trying to say, guys. This is what I'm trying to say about we are struggling to pick 4 or 5 midfield players because they're all brilliant. And we've had to drop it down to 10. You know what I mean? None of them what play today would get a mention in any of this team.
No.
John Radford. He's more of a striker though, Radford, wasn't he?
Yeah, Big Raddy was a striker, wasn't he?
Raddy was a striker, yeah, but a great player though, Gunner 6. Yeah, great player.
He was a pure.
Who's your four?
The greatest players who ever played for the football club, in no particular order: Patrick Vieira, Liam Brady, Robert Pires, and Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah,
you know, if you think about great players, and that's one of the reasons why you have, when you look at certain managers, even though I was a very big advocate for Arsene Wenger to be out of the football club, there's no doubt that his teams, especially his league-winning teams, housed some of the best players we've ever seen. And I think we're ever going to see. I don't think we're ever going to see the likes. Sadly, I don't think as Arsenal fans we're ever going to see the likes of players like Henry, Bergkamp, Pires, Vieira ever again at this football club.
This is why when it all went sour against Wenger, I couldn't really, and a lot of understand why I couldn't. As much as I wanted him, as much as I wanted a change, my hatred for Wenger wasn't, well, not hatred for anyone, but what I'm saying is my dislike for Wenger is not the same as what it is for this manager. Because Arsene Wenger, with them players that we've just mentioned, brought us some of the best football I've ever seen in my whole life. Ever.
You know what it was with me? Because I didn't appreciate the Invincibles, because the reason why I didn't think of anything else, not because I was masochistic or oppositional, is because I thought it would carry on. Maybe if I appreciated those teams a lot more, perhaps I'll probably have been less, more forgiving of Arsene Wenger's.
He was a victim of his own success, really, wasn't he? He was a victim of his own success.
Without showing that, but I was very much an advocate that Arsene Wenger should be replaced, and I still find it hard to forget and forgive how he left the club in a state.
I understand it. I totally understand it. Totally understand it. But that football, I mean, he had some greats. But you can't. The best players that have ever played for the football club, and that is Bergkamp, Vieira.
You can never take it away from Arsene Wenger. That situation. I do think that, in the interest of fairness, if you have 3 of the most iconic managers in football at Arsenal, and only 2 of them got us trophy, that's just not on. Regardless of what you think of the play, it's wrong at all levels. You can't have 3 iconic managers and only 2 of them got statues. It's wrong.
No, I'll make you right. But do you know what though, Jez, Kenny? I mean, we've spoken about like the obvious, but there were so many midfield players that I used to like. Like I used to like watching Alexander Hleb. Do you remember when we bought Hleb? You know, I thought Hleb was brilliant. You know, players like Alexander Hleb now would. I thought he was he was so underrated for us. I thought he was a brilliant player. You know, Parler we just spoke about. I thought Ray Parler was a good midfield player, but we had many midfield players, you know.
I just know it's like we put our best 10 out there. We got a game tomorrow night, guys. Kenny, you, DJ, you're both going to be there. Give me your prediction. How's it going to
go? I personally don't think. I think it's one of them games where, you know when you more or less think the tie's won. So I don't think it's going to be. They'll come at us because they're playing for pride, aren't they? PSV. So I think their little mini victory will be trying to win at the Emirates tomorrow. And if they've got to give something for their supporters to shout about. So,
they have the supporters. They own big time.
Yeah, they're going to have to try and get a win tomorrow at the Emirates. I think it'd be a draw. I don't think Arsenal are going to. I don't think we're going to go full throttle. I don't think we're going to go out and try and all guns blazing. We don't need to risk any injuries to do that, because finishing top 4, believe it or not, people say we're going to walk. We should be finishing in the top 2, but finishing top 4 is no give me, and I don't think we can risk any more injuries in a game like tomorrow. No, so I'd like to see him experiment a little bit.
He's going to have to. He's going to have to. The reason why I think he's going to have to.
Do you think he'll rest players for the game against Chelsea?
He has. Not for the game against Chelsea, but he's got to rest. As arrogant as it sounds, and as presumptuous as it comes across, and I am probably being presumptuous, because of the way our seasons have gone, and because we tend to play better in Europe than we do in the Premiership, the Real Madrid game is now the alpha and omega, without a shadow of doubt. We got to make sure we have to get the best team possible we can for Real Madrid. And even then, it won't be enough. We all know it won't be enough. But we have to give ourselves a fighting chance.
But Kenny, as I've said to people, if we play one of the Madrids, all I want, as you just said, is to have a chance. I just want to go at that second leg with a chance. Whether we win it or not is immaterial. I don't want it. Yeah, so I think tomorrow, rest a few players. I think he's got to. I can see it being a draw.
I'll tell you one
couple actually. PSV.
You heard it first here, I'll probably say in other shows. He's got a selection decision with MLS, whether we like it or not. MLS is a decision he's going to have to make in lieu of a game against one of the British sides. He has to be able to feel that he can trust MLS. He's sorry to say it because of the potential he has. We have to have 10, 11 men in both those games, where we are the complete and utter underdogs, even with our own full team. But now, with the players we haven't got out, the form we're in, we are very much the underdogs. We've got to have 11 men in that because we're going to be doing a lot of running, and we're going to be running without that ball and working our nuts off. And even then, it may not be enough.
I think basically we got Chelsea home.
Still big game. It's a top 4 clash, isn't it, Jess?
It's a big game, mate. It's a London derby. All London derbies are big games. I don't care.
You got to try it. You got to educate some of our fans, because some pork chops in our fan base don't believe that. You know what I mean?
Well, sorry. All London derbies are.
They're all big. They're all big.
I'm with you.
Chelsea, they're all big.
I don't care who it is. It's Chelsea, Tottenham, Fulham, West Ham. You know what I mean? Leighton Orient. Come on.
That's still big. I mean, that's still big.
It's pride of place. It's got to be Kings of London, and so I'm not having. But
Chelsea want to get us back for 5-0 from last season.
Yeah, of course they do.
But the thing is, the way we've been playing this season, nothing's a gimme. This top 4 is nothing's a gimme. Chelsea will come there Sunday thinking that they can take 3 points, and rightly so, because it hasn't been an impressive Arsenal team.
What else they got to play for, mate? They want to get one over on us.
Yeah, exactly. They still got the Conference League.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. It's been a great chat.
Legend, mate.
Thanks, Cesc, for having us on again.
Yeah, thank you, Cesc.
Next week, we're going to do, this will be a good one. Our best 10 Arsenal strikers.
Bloody hell. Arsenal known for producing strikers. We're about to find out.
Oh, dear.
Well, Kenny, you can bring in the modern strikers that we haven't got. Hey,
of course I will.
Yeah.
Of course I will. Kai Havertz definitely getting in. Gabriel Jesus 100% gets in. So prolific player. Eddie Nketiah definitely getting in.
Yeah. I forgot about them. But gentlemen, Kenny, please, as always, thank you for coming on, giving us your facts and history. You're a legend to me. Please shout your stuff out where we can find you.
You can find me at Kenny Ken 1972 on Instagram. Obviously, I've got a Twitter handle, but you'll have more participation and more fun with me on Instagram. That's all I have to offer, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got I'm on X, but I haven't got a Twitter, Instagram. I haven't got a channel just as yet, but who's to say there might be one in the pipeline, but not yet. So, but you'll find me on streams around various channels like Kenny and yourself, Jez. But Jez, honestly, this takes me away from this season and all what's been going on, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and hopefully the listeners and people that have watched have enjoyed it, going down memory lane with some of these great players that deserve a mention. And I think the importance of these having these shows that you put on, Jez, is that we don't forget the great players that played for this great football club, and we can't. No matter what age you are, you'll always have a memory of a certain player.
Yeah.
And what they mean to you personally. So yeah, no, it's great, mate. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
I love doing it. I mean, look, I love just doing that, chatting to you guys each week, once a week. Yeah, we meet up on other channels, don't we? We chat about this, we chat about that.
Yeah, the nitty-gritty stuff that's going on at the moment. Yeah,
I just like us three guys chatting about our memories, what we know, and putting it out there. And maybe eventually people will actually stand up and listen and actually what the club was once about and how it is football. 100%. Not the ball.
And the reason why we have such an opinion on what's going on today, because we've seen these great players. We've seen them, mate. We've seen them in the flesh.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about. And anyway, gentlemen, we're out of here. I'm going to do the outro and
stay safe, guys.
Let's
stay safe
tomorrow night. And
there's a classic involved Paris and Liverpool. So watch that and enjoy your football.
I think PSG might take them to extra time.
Have you seen their fans? They're going absolutely berserk. I've just seen them.
Yeah, well, they were at the Emirates, weren't they, this season?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, who knows? They won't be as bad as they were at the Emirates, eh?
Yeah, no.
Right, catch you later, boys. We'll do the
guys. All the best. Take care.
Take care.
Have a great night, and we will see you all tomorrow at the Emirates for the. Well, you will. I'll see you, gentlemen, later.
Yeah.